Right now, we'd like to let whoever would like to come up say what you'd like to say, and while everybody's eating and having a good time. Don't be shy. So now the mic is on to for whoever would like to come up and speak. You're more than welcome to. If two of you come at the same time, then we'll just kind of battle it out, see who goes first. So you might want to make sure you eat, have your strength to win that round. But with that said, the mic is open. If you'd like to come up and say a word or two, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay? Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to give this the first go. Some of you know who I am, some of you do not, I'm sure. My name is Fish, and this guy down here, Charlie, has been my best friend since first grade. He's more than my best friend, really. He's my brother. And usually I just refer to him as BFCG when I'm talking to my friends and family. They're like, oh, BFCG's coming up today. They know who I'm talking about because when I was much younger, I would get teased by my mom and my brother because whenever I was telling a story, I always had to be very specific about who I was talking to or talking about. And I was like, so me and my best friend, my best friend, Charlie Ghramm. So that's BFCG, best friend Charlie Ghramm. It's not, but I need to make sure that people understand. And this is not your turn to talk, so I guarantee nothing. So, that being said, now you know who I am and my relation to this family. And that's what I wanted to get to, is because I spent a lot of time at Charlie's house, which was Timm's house. And I was always welcome in Timm's house. Timm treated me like, you heard Uncle, when I talk about this family, I talk about Uncle Ron and Uncle Frank. And Aunt Jeannie and Cousin Chris. Family was very important to Timm. And that was very clear. And I've always felt as I was part of this family. And that was what Timm set in place. That was the example that Timm led by. Family was very important to him. And I look back in Timm's passing and I think about my memories of him and how that's impacted my life. Uncle Frank talked about Stephen King and being one of Timm's favorite authors, if not Timm's favorite author. I can remember going to their house and seeing this bookshelf full of Stephen King novels. The first Stephen King novel I ever read, it was more of a novella, it was shorter. I pulled off of Timm's bookshelf, first Stephen King I ever read. I currently have a bookshelf full of Stephen King hardbacks. And I would say Stephen King is my favorite author. And that's just one small part of how Timm impacted my life. And just seeing how important family was to him, even when he and Charlie maybe weren't on the best of terms. Sometimes they could both be pretty stubborn and butt heads. But you're like, oh, that's putting it very mildly. Very kind of you. But it always came back to family and forgiveness and love. And I'm very thankful that before Timm's passing, we were able to gather again, some of us, and be family once more. And I was very thankful that he was able to meet my wife Libby before passing. And that we had time to have fellowship and food and that sense of family once more. And I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful to be part of this family. And thankful to have known Timm. Thanks.
I didn't think anybody was going to start running up here, so I figured I'd better speak now before I can't. So, first off, I would like to thank everyone for being here today. I actually typed this out My wife tells me I ramble when I speak now, so it might sound like rambling, but it's tight, so I'm good. Okay. I'm going to try to get through this without crying, so I'm going to try to keep this short and lighthearted. I do feel like I should start out with an opinion disclaimer. You know, how's that go? Something like the opinions expressed within the contents or solely the authors do not reflect the opinions and beliefs of its affiliates. Something like that. For those of you that do not know me, which Fish kind of already told you, but for those that don't know me, and for those of you who are getting older and can't remember who I am, my name is Charlie, and I am Tim's oldest son. From the time, wow, this is hard. This might not be as short as I thought it was going to be. From the time my dad told me he didn't have much time, I've been just trying to remember the times with him and reflecting on who he was to me. Timothy Charles Ghramm, to most Tim, to some of you T. My dad was my dad. He was very smart. He was stubborn. He didn't show weakness. He never showed any tears. He didn't ask for help. He didn't say, I love you. That didn't mean that he didn't love me. That just meant something. That's just not something that was said. He didn't drink much, unless it was coffee. Coffee he drank. He also didn't speed. He drove really slow. As a kid, I remember my dad working a lot. He would come home after a long day of work, and he'd read his paper, watch the news, and he'd eat his Lay's potato chips. He loved all that. He was one of the few people I knew that would read a book with 1,000,000 pages and have it finished the next evening. Okay, maybe it didn't have 1,000,000. It was probably realistically like 900,000, but it was still close enough. He did like watching movies. And growing up, if you'd seen the movie and he hadn't, you did not spoil it. You did not make a sound. You did not say a word. Nothing. You would get so upset if you did. My dad was a huge basketball fan. I remember he would play basketball on the weekends with my Uncle Rick. And when I was little, they would tell me, you know, when you drive into Seattle across the freeway, there's these power lines and they got these orange weather balls on there. And as a kid, I grew up because my dad and my Uncle Rick told me those were basketballs. They threw up in the air and they got stuck. I believed that for the longest time. I even told my kids that. They didn't believe me. So, go figure. My dad wasn't into camping. He may have been, but I remember a photo where I was, under 5 years old and I was tied to a tree with a sign on my chest saying, "Don't let free" or something like that. So it's possible I changed his mind on the camping thing. He wasn't into fishing or hunting or things like that either. He was into games like Nerds, and Risk, and poker. When you played Nerds, playing against my dad was tough. He was fast. I'm talking, get your hands out of the way and let him work. He and a few friends, I don't remember everyone that played Risk, but I know Randy, who's not here with us today, and Steve, who's not here with us due to weather. They're in Montana now. They actually took a Risk game and turned it into a 4x8 sheet of plywood that they made that had a carpeted edge around the edge of the table with a full sheet of glass on top that they made their own pieces for, that they hand painted, and they played Risk on this huge board in the garage. But poker, that was something he did all the time. In the beginning, it was at friends' houses like Ralph and Susie's getting together for mini games and quarter dime and nickel, and then it turned into poker, Texas Hold'em, playing online all the time. It finally grew to poker at their house with several actual poker tables. It was a casino in their house. It even got to the point where there was a tournament of champions. If you won, you made it into the tournament of champions, and you got to play that only if you won. And My dad, I'm sorry, I'm ad-libbing some of this, which I guess I'm rambling, it's all types, whatever. My dad also loved to bowl. That was what we did every week. My father did teach me many things, though. I was taught to respect my elders. So I do apologize for what I said a minute ago, but if you don't remember, it's okay. I'm glad you guys all got me. All right. I don't know if I'm going to cry or laugh outside. He taught me to bowl when I was 5. And I grew up bowling. I'm pretty sure he taught me how to ride a bicycle, but the only thing I ever hear about bicycle riding is how I scratched Uncle Ron's car. And, I mean, yeah, it was a good scratch. It was all across the hood. It was awesome.
But you're okay.
I'm okay, that's right. He did teach me that I do like to go fast. I don't remember how old I was, but he made me a go-kart that was made out of, it probably was a 2x8, piece of wood. It had a 2x4 for the front steering. We used a rope to steer. It had a wooden seat. It was more like a soapbox derby car, not a go-kart, because there was no motor. But we lived on a hill, and we would just kind of, take it down the hill. I don't even remember if it had brakes on it. I think that's where my love of speed came from, I believe. All I do remember, though, it was a lot of fun. I remember that. He taught me to drive. Driving fast, though, he did not teach me. When I got my first car, he taught me how to work on it. He said, son, you take the old part off, you put the new part on just like you took the old part off. And that's how I learned to work on cars. And I would try to do that. And when it wouldn't work out, he would say, son, you better call Ralph. Just in case you guys don't know who Ralph is, Ralph was an excellent mechanic, and that's what he did it for a living. That's why he said call Ralph. And if I have to explain the jokes, let's just say it. Okay. He did teach me though how to be accepting of everyone. He would always tell me it takes all kinds to make the world go round, and I took that to heart. And as you guys have heard, my dad is a loving man. I never once heard a prejudiced thing out of my dad's mouth. Ever. He did teach me my career. The one thing I never wanted to do growing up, being a window covering installer. So I never wanted to do that. But I'm glad I did. My dad and I became closer than when I was younger. He would always go into the office early, and I started going in early, and we would end up talking for it turned a good hour before we'd start work, and that went on for a long time. And Fish touched on it. My dad and I butted heads. He's stubborn. I'm stubborn. I guess I know where I get it from. We didn't talk for a couple years. I regret that, but life happens. Fast forwarding, he and I had moved to Oregon, and Lisa and I had moved to Southern California, so I wasn't able to visit as much as I would like to, and I know he felt the same way. At one point, my dad got diagnosed with lung cancer. At first, he wasn't going to get any help, but then eventually, he changed his mind. The cancer eventually went into remission. During that time, we talked more than we had. I would always tell my dad when we were done talking, I love you. His response to me would be, okay. And that's kind of how the phone call went. Occasionally, he would reply back to me, I love you. As we would talk more and more, occasionally it became every time. Then one day, my dad said, I love you first. And that meant the world to me. Fast forwarding to the phone call into October, I typed it up, but I got to ad-lib it because my words don't make sense to me when I type. So my dad, where they lived, they didn't call. They didn't have long distance in the landline. And I'm just gonna call BS on this right now. Okay. Ida has a cell phone, but my dad couldn't call anybody because they didn't have long distance. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just being funny and throwing that out there. I get it. Okay. So I had to call my dad. They didn't call them long distance. In October, Ida sent me a message. Again, why didn't you just call me? Ida sent me a message saying, call your dad, he needs to talk to you. I knew it wasn't good, just because that's not how things went. I called my dad, you know. So my dad informed me in October that he had been diagnosed with brain cancer, that it came back, and it came back aggressively into his brain. I'm going to back up for just a minute. Like I said, my dad and I talked a lot. We didn't always talk as much as we'd like to, just because I don't call anybody anymore and I don't text. It's just get older, you do that kind of stuff. I started learning how to play the guitar, just because I wanted to start learning. So you see guitars up here, don't get expectations because I'm still learning. But I would tell my dad about it and share what I did in my life. What my wife and I were doing, working on our houses and showing him stuff. And anyhow, the night he told me, it was a hard night. My dad doesn't drink, but I do. I don't drink that much, no matter what anybody says. But I had a few beers that night. It was hard. It was difficult. I never imagined I'd be in that situation. When he told me I had lung cancer, I never expected the worst. I always figured, well, cool, great, don't go away. But this was different. I could hear it in my dad's voice. But he kept saying, it's okay, don't worry about it. I did this to myself. It's what it is. So the next morning, I like playing the guitar and words kind of came to me. And I wrote down some lyrics. Just a few. It wasn't like it was a song or anything like that. Just some lyrics. Wrote it down. It's cool. So we were planning a trip to go see my dad. Liam wanted to go. Just so you guys know. Can I have a tissue, please? Liam is our son. He wanted to go see his grandpa. We were trying to plan a trip. We were told he had 2 months at that time. We didn't know. So we were planning a trip to go up there. Everybody, Uncle Ron, Aunt Jeannie came. I know Uncle Dan had gotten there the weekend before. We just didn't work out to be able to get there the same weekend. So we went up to my dad's, and before we were heading to my dad's, I thought, my dad's a big Elvis fan. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to print out some Elvis songs and learn some Elvis songs so I could play music with my dad, because my dad actually played the piano. I don't know if a lot of you know that. My dad taught himself how to play the piano. And so in my mind, I was thinking, okay, I suck at guitar. He hit a couple keys on the piano. We could make some noise together. This would be cool. So I thought, great, I'll do this. So I printed up some Elvis songs, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to learn the one. Right. I'm gonna try to learn the one song that my dad really likes is Elvis. I'm gonna impress my dad. And I swear to God, in the house of the Lord right now, I swear, I believe this, that he liked In the Ghetto by Elvis. I can remember him singing this song as I was a kid, right? So I really I like that song too. If you guys know, I like that song. It's a cool song. So I was practicing. I'm getting into, cool. I can't think when it goes now because I haven't played it. You'll understand why in a minute. So I was like, all right, sweet. I got this down. I can sing this to my dad. It's great. And anyhow, so the morning that we were getting ready to leave town. Now, mind you, we live in Southern California, so we drive everywhere. We just have to really hard. The morning we were going to leave, Lisa's at work, and I don't know what came over me, but those lyrics that I started writing the morning after my dad told me, more lyrics came, and all of a sudden I had a song in front of me. I didn't have any music to it. It was just lyrics. It was basically a poem. Okay. I was so excited about it. I told Lisa, just so you guys all know, most of you know this is my wife, just not Lisa at the front row. This is my wife. I told Lisa, I was like, hey, I finished the lyrics to that song. She's like, now this is the morning we're leaving, and I'm learning guitar. I'm not like Fish and Liam, where they just pick an instrument up and they're Mozart, But she says, oh, are you gonna have it ready to sing to your dad when we get there? And I was like, hell no. Excuse my language. I was like, are you crazy? We're leaving as soon as you get home. I don't have no music to this. I have no. Well, I got a phone with Lisa, and I was like, you know what? Okay, screw it. I sat down in the music room, and yeah, I know it sounds funny. I'm learning guitar, but we have a music room. Because, if you build it, they will come. That's my philosophy. If you build it, they will come. So I sat down and I started playing these chords that started sounding right to the song. I started getting this rhythm going with it. And I was like, wow, this is great. This is really, really great. I actually got the music put to the words. Now, I couldn't get through it. I would cry through the song. And I was like, okay, all right, it is what it is. I'll try to do it. I'll work on it. It is what it is. So we get to my dad's. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because I tried not to short. It's just not working out. So I get to my dad's, and I was excited. So we got there on a Friday, and Uncle Ron and Aunt Jeannie were coming up on a Saturday. Fish and his wife were able to come over, but they weren't coming till Saturday. Sammy and Ashley showed up Saturday, right? No, Friday.
No, Friday.
Friday, yeah, Friday. You guys were Friday. So I was like, I can't wait for everybody to get here. For all I know, you could pass away Friday night and I'd be screwed and not get to play my song. I was being selfish, sorry. So Friday night, I was like, Dad, look, I brought some music. I want to play some music for you. I also wrote a song. I want to play it for you. And so I was able to play my song for my dad before he passed away, which was really cool. And then I played it again the next night when everybody else was there, which was really nice. But the Elvis song. So I was like, hey, Dad, I got this song. I know you love Elvis. And I could swear, growing up, this is the song you really liked. And I said, it's in the ghetto. And he's like, I kid you not, exact words. It's all right. That was his response to me thinking in the ghetto was his favorite song. I was like, oh, I thought you liked that. I thought it was your favorite song. You sang it when I was a kid. He's like, it's okay. I like my way. I was like, okay, that's cool. I brought the music for that. I haven't practiced it. I have not practiced it, but I brought the music for it. He's like, well, that's cool. Sammy can sing it. So Sammy, I want Sammy to sing. And I was like, all right, well, we'll try it. We'll give it a whirl. I believe Fish played the guitar on that one, and Liam played the guitar on that one, and I think I just sang and Sammy sang. And yeah, it was like Roseanne Barr singing the national anthem. It was. That's kind of my saying right now. That's like my saying this week. So anyway, so we played this song, and then the next night when Aunt Jeannie and Uncle Ron showed up, and I was able to play my song again for my dad. And I said at the beginning, I've never seen my dad cry in my life. Never seen him shed a tear until I sang him my song. My dad shed a tear. It's the only time in my life I've seen my dad shed a tear. And it just makes me feel that he was human. My dad, to me, was a strong man. My dad didn't show weakness. My dad didn't back down from anything. When I was a kid, I used to have headgear wired in, the rubber bands on the sides. And I can remember going home and I got picked on. The older kids took the rubber bands and kept snapping my face. And I remember going home and my dad said, asked me what happened, told him. My dad marched down the street to those kids and started thumping them right in the side of the face. How you like it? How you like it? That's the only time my dad's ever laid hands on them. But I remember it. So, before my dad passed, he did ask that Sammy and I sing My Way at his memorial. Sammy lives in Washington. And I'm not really good at the guitar, and I live in California. So I made a recording. I hope she never shares it with anybody. And I sent it to Sammy so she could practice, because I don't sing it like, normal. So that she could sing it normal, and I could, Anyways, so we're going to sing My Way for you guys. We did practice it 3 times last time.
Maybe.
Yes, something like So just know that we were asked to do this. We didn't volunteer to do this. Now, we would have though. We would have volunteered, but and after Sammy gets done, after we get done. After we get done with My Way, I would like to play the song that I played my dad for you guys to share my emotions. And now I'm rambling, so Sam, if you want to come up, we'll just get the show on the road. Alrighty, so oh, this is great. Now your phone's out.
Of course.
Yeah, you do it, and you got both. So this is by request of our father, and for those of you that don't know, this is Sammy. This is my sister, my little sister. I'm the oldest. It shows, I know. It's obvious.
Would never go.
All right, Sammy, you ready?
No.
Me neither. So let's do it. All right, here we go. You ready? Mm-hmm. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, no, not me, I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the words he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way, and did it my way. I think that was our best one. That was good. Since I have you guys up here, I'd like to play the song that I wrote for my dad originally. Oh yeah, now that I have you all gathered here, I'd like to talk to you about Hamlet. See, that shows age. Those who laughed understand. Those who didn't laugh went through it. So, okay. So at this point, I would like to ask Liam to come up. He wanted to be a part of this for his grandfather, and also Fish to come up to be a part of this too. So we're gonna play the song, and yeah, I'm just rambling because I'm nervous. So yeah, okay.
More about Amway.
Amway. So Amway. Oh, actually, Chris probably sold Amway. So Chris has sold everything he tried to sell. Wait, did you guys sell Amway? Oh. So the name of this song is called "Last Chance." You guys ready?
Yep.
It's hard to find the words to express how I feel, emotions and thoughts. This pain is for real. Memories of the past flooding through my mind. Over and over and over this world, I'm trying to remember it all. And I know it's the last time. And I don't want to say goodbye. And I don't want this hurt inside. I just don't know how to say goodbye. I can see the words but can't say them. I'm frozen and can't share them. The tears, I can't shake them. The clock stops for no one. Seconds keep on ticking. The minutes keep on spinning. The hours won't stop moving. And I know it's the last time. And I don't want to say goodbye. And I don't want this hurt inside. I just don't know how to say goodbye. Like a drum keeping the beat in my heart, 4 words on repeat. Over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. It'll never go away. It won't ever fade. And I know it's the last time. And I don't want to say goodbye. I know it's my last chance to say I love you, Dad. I'm good. Next. Thank you. Hey kids.
Was it boxer?
shot you down. Bang, bang. You hit the ground. Bang, bang. That awful sound.
Oh, Russell.